I thought I'm going to talk a little bit about how we started Suzle, what it is about, what we're actually doing, and how we're doing it, how we got that idea, how we get the backdrops, and how we turn them into the bags that hopefully end up at your home. So right now it's September 2025, and we started thinking about the idea last year in October 2024. So my husband Lewis and me were both working in the music industry. He's a sound engineer and I'm a photographer and videographer. We're on tour with a few bands, and we figured that basically all of them still got backdrops. We were like, why don't they do anything with it? It's not really worth it. Like, I mean, you know, backdrops, they have, most of the times, they have a beautiful design. A designer made it, or like it's a nice photograph. So a lot of work already was put into designing a backdrop, and then a lot of money as well to actually get it printed. And then you can only use it for a certain period of time. So we were like, it's such a waste to like just see them lying around in a corner and not doing anything with them. We kind of said it as a joke and were like, oh, why don't they make bags out of them? And then we were like, yeah, why don't they do that? And we did some research and we couldn't find anyone who really like does it as a business or like as a brand. There's like no brand out there really who specifies on like flipping stage use backdrops into usable items. So we were like, okay, challenge accepted, we're gonna do it. We don't know how yet, but we're gonna do it. So we thought we want to do everything ourselves to keep the control and to provide the quality we had in our heads. And then it all got a bit out of hand because the original idea was like, oh, we can just do tote bags or like small like pockets or whatever, but then we were like, that's actually not enough. So over time we started talking more about it. We started talking to people in the industry, and everyone said like, it's a great idea, do it, that's amazing. So we were confident we can do it, and we just tried. So I used to sew a lot when I was younger, when I was like, even before my teenage years. I sat in the kitchen with my mom and we've sewn bags or like our own clothes, and I repaired my clothes and stuff like that. So I've always been into sewing, and it was always a lot of fun, but I haven't been sewing that much recently. So I was like, I will see if I can do it still. So I did some prototypes. I struggled a bit with the bum bags because I looked for a pattern online because I couldn't really wrap my head around how to sew a bum bag. So eventually I found a sewing pattern of a bum bag that I wanted, and that was basically easy enough to sew as well because I knew I would have to sew a lot of bum bags. Then we decided we want to have a backpack. I've never sewn a backpack in my whole life, and I had a smaller backpack here which I kind of used as a layout, but I changed it a little bit to like make it work for me. So I didn't use a sewing pattern for that. It was kind of created in my head. And then we decided to have a third version, which is called the day bag, which is essentially like a tote bag, but like I said before, we wanted more than that. So we added a zip, and it's got a little pocket inside, and all of the bags got nice lining so that we can provide a quality that it can be really used and not just has to be on a shelf in your room. I mean, you can still put it on a shelf in your room and look at it because they're pretty, but you can also use them, which is really nice. We decided to get the band logo embroidered on the backpack and on the day bag and on the bum bag. We couldn't do this on our own because we don't have an embroidery machine yet, but we found a place, like a local small business, and they do the embroidery for us, and then we picked the fabric back up and then I sew them into the bags. That's how this all came together. And actually, while all of this was already kind of in process and we were thinking about it, we were like, we need a name and a logo. So we came up with the name Suzle because we kind of combined our names in the end, like Lewis and Suzi, Suzle. And Lewis' uncle, Sean, is a graphic designer for 40 years now. And we were like, it would be stupid to not involve him in all of this process. So thank you, Sean. because he did our logo and he basically gave us a CI. He came up with the colors, he came up with all of the graphics basically, and we're really, really happy with it because it's like 100% his touch in there as well, because we were just like, look, we would like to have this and that. We kind of wanted somehow to include our hair colors, so my red and Lewis turquoise color, because we were like, that's kind of funny. So he did that really well, and he even included the 2 dots from the umlaut Ü in German, because my last name was Müller before I got married, and so he even included that in the logo, which I think is really cute. That was all happening in the background as well. So many things just happened kind of at once and at the same time, and there were just more and more things we needed to think about. It was not just like cutting up a backdrop and sewing it into bags, like all of the logistics. How do we sell them? How do we distribute them? How do we like pack them? And then we were like, okay, they're gonna be a more expensive merch item because all of them are handmade, so a lot of time is spent in creating these bags. And like with the embroidery as well, we buy all the buckles, the straps that we need. So there's a lot of time and a lot of thought going into this, and we didn't just want to send the bags out. We wanted to have the people to have like an unboxing experience. They will be boxed up nicely with like some tissue paper, and we created a certificate of authenticity that gives you more information about the backdrop, and all of the bags are numbered, the numbers on the certificate as well, the numbers in the bags. We spent so much time on looking for boxes, and when we eventually found boxes, they weren't good enough. Although we ordered samples and everything, but then when it came to the packing, we packed the items. Well, Lewis packed the items because I was on tour at that time. And they weren't good enough basically. And we were like, oh, we need new boxes. So the research started again. But luckily we found some that are a bit bigger and like 5 times more expensive than the actual boxes. So yeah, you can even keep the boxes and use them for something else, or place your item on the wall with it and look at it and collect all the bags. We basically get the backdrops from the bands when they don't need them anymore, and then we take care of everything else once they're online, and hopefully people will be happy with them, because that was kind of the main goal as well, to make fans happy, to provide like a super special item with lots of history in it, with lots of nostalgia for the fans. Yeah, to just give them a very special piece of hopefully one of their favorite bands back. So for the first few batches that are gonna be released, the bands we're working with just kindly trusted us. We're just convinced that it's a great idea, and were already happy with the prototypes I showed them, and they were like, yep, let's do it. And they gave us all the time in the world. Thank you again for that.
Hey friends, it's Lewis. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that's helped us out so far. We couldn't have done this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We haven't had a clue yet, like how long it's gonna take, what else we need to organize, because yeah, like I said, we've been working on this for almost a year now. And now we're at this point where we can finally launch and even just share the idea with the world, really. We're just super excited to finally get it out there, and we just hope that the items will make you smile and that you will be happy using them, or just like collecting them and having them hung on your wall, and maybe to just think about the shows where you've been at, where this backdrop hung on stage and you were like, oh my god, I've been there, and maybe you will join us along the way. And yeah, we see where it goes and which bands we're gonna collaborate with in the future. You will find it out here, or join our mailing list, which you can do online on our website, suzle.co.uk. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!